Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Third Eye.
My name is Paula.
And I am Haley. And welcome to our humble abode. So, Paula, would you like to tell our viewers what The Third Eye is about?
So, yes, The Third Eye is an audiovisual podcast where there are two hosts, me and Haley. And for every single episode, we choose a topic that resonates with our personal growth. And we talk about it, we share our experiences with it, and maybe potentially you, our audiences, can resonate or not. Maybe, Haley, you would like to share what is our topic of the day?
Of course. So today's topic is something we've all experienced, and it's actually fairly common. Loneliness. I feel like that's something like everyone thinks that like, oh, I'm the only one, or thinks that a very small percentage, everybody goes through this, like, and I mean everybody. And I think it's really important to kind of talk about it and, talk about what it means to you and all of that.
Yeah. So The Third Eye works like this. Every single episode, we're going to have a niche topic. For today, it's loneliness and how to grow from it. At first, me and Haley, we're going to share our experience with the said topic and how does it resonate with our life. And we're going to share little bits and pieces of storytelling in order to explain how can it inflect on one's personal life. And for you audiences, what you do is to just sit back, relax, watch our storytelling, take what resonates and leave what doesn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Haley, I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Maybe you can tell me, how have you experienced loneliness in your life and how does it resonate with you personally?
Well, actually, I've experienced loneliness for a long time. Like, I think I've dealt with it since I was little. Had a bit of a rough childhood, so things are a bit, but it's okay. So I kind of felt a lot, like, lonely, like, growing up in school, and, I didn't have, like, a lot of friends. I moved around a lot, so I was a bit of a new girl, but I just didn't really find people who I was close to. I had a lot of fake friends, went through a lot of toxic friendships, and I think through all of that, I felt very, very alone because I just didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. For moving around a lot, I felt like I didn't really have a place, and, loss of a culture and identity, and, never really belonged. And as I said, that I wasn't in great environments for good friendships. And for me, that made me feel like I was really, really alone. Like, it's almost like, how I felt was like, you could be in a crowded room and still feel alone. That's how I felt. And it was really, really scary. And I never thought like, that I would ever get out of it, or, that this is my life. Like, I'm never going to have any friends. I'm just like, and it really like affected me a lot. But yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah,
I didn't want to go on a bit of a ramble. But Paula, would you like to explain maybe...
I wanted to ask you another question. That's why.
Okay, well then we'll give to Paula.
So, as I understood from your conversation about loneliness strictly stems from people and interactions with people and the fear that interactions might go wrong or go rogue. Would you maybe mind explaining, when did you first interact with loneliness in your life? Was it from childhood? Was it in your teenage years? And how did you, as a 20 youngling, deal with it nowadays?
So, as I said, for me, loneliness really started like in my childhood. Actually, pretty much since I was like a baby. And I know this is gonna sound hard to believe, but like I literally I was on a walk with my gran, and I literally sat down in a school at like two and a half, saying like, hey, they go school, because I was just really lonely at home. So yeah, I've actually been lonely pretty much as long as I can remember. And well, not lonely, but like dealt with loneliness. And how I deal with it now is kind of like, I've learned to be okay with like being alone, like actually being alone and not being around people. And find comfort in it and enjoy my own company, because I think that was really, really important for me to kind of understand that. Because like, as I said, like I, found out that I was also lonely even with people I was around, when I was around people and with friends. Even now, like, I can still feel like that. But yeah, but also so being okay with your own company, and not constantly needing to be around people, but also I very much found that like another way to deal with it is also to kind of talk about it. Like I talk about it with my friends, I talk about it with my family, and also just like, getting out of that mindset and really trying to change that. Like I'm still working through it. It's still hard. But yeah, hanging out with friends, being like creating real, genuine friendships that are built with very strong foundations, a lot of deep connections and compassion, talking about being lonely and, bringing it up and having open conversations about it with people that I care about, and being okay with my own company, to summarize. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Maybe you can share with me and our audiences an instance that has specifically hit, like something that you really use as a lesson for yourself. And maybe nowadays, how do you carry it with yourself and maybe deal with loneliness or learn from it? Is there something specific?
Okay. This is a bit of a tough one because, like, obviously there's a lot of situations to choose from. I can't really choose a specific instance, sort of like a moment. However, I can talk about like a time period. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So, like, obviously, as I said, I was bullied growing up. And I think that was, like, really hard for me because I was very different from, like, the other kids. And I got teased a lot for, like, having red hair and freckles and, being really pale. I'm sure the viewers can tell. No, but I was bullied for a long time, and even growing up, and still now it feels crazy to even say that. But, like, I've basically dealt with it my whole life. So as I said, it's very hard to choose like a specific instance because I will still carry all of it, with me, and it still impacts me and changes the way I view things. But with that, obviously being bullied, like and having very toxic friendships as well, I've learned that like I can't sorry, I can't like fix my loneliness and patch it up with people. If I like people, no matter how many friends you have, no matter who's around, or all of that, like none of that's going to change whether you feel lonely or not. It's really like a mentality and like a mental thing where like, everyone's going to feel lonely. You're going to have times like when you're going to feel so alone because it's not, loneliness doesn't just show up alone. It accompanies so many other different emotions. Like sometimes you could be dealing with some really intense shit and like you could be hanging with a friend and still feel very alone and lonely because, you're holding all this sort of stuff in. So like I've learned that, instead of, everything being super separated, like first off, like obviously the source of fixing it shouldn't come from like people and friends, but it should come from you and how you interact with loneliness. And like I don't think to be scared of it is a good thing because sometimes being lonely is okay, and you can't fix and never be lonely. It's going to be part of you forever. So learning how to cope and deal with it is like learning how to be okay by yourself, and also something to help maybe lessen it or make it a bit more bearable. Again, as I said, like to share it with people. And like something that I very much learned is, my loneliness accompanies a lot of issues and a lot of struggles and a lot of other emotions. And by sharing that with friends, I used to think it was burdening them. And I've now learned that actually it's not, because if you create healthy boundaries and you've got really good, genuine friends, they kind of hold it with you and they support you. And to be able to share that and, not carry that burden, those struggles alone, helped me actually feel less lonely because I was sharing these things and sharing part of me with other people instead of hiding it like I used to. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like a lot of people can resonate with that on a very high scale. And do you personally think right now, as your 20-year-old self, do you think that loneliness is something that should be feared?
That's actually a really good question because I feel it's very common to feel terrified and so scared of being lonely because it is a really tough, emotion and, a tough thing. So basically what I think that people should say, "Ooh." But I think is that people shouldn't be scared of being lonely. Like, it is a part of life. Every single person feels it in one aspect or another, to one severity to another. Like, everyone feels it. It's never going to leave you. So being scared of it is actually going to make the loneliness worse, because you're probably going to be chasing some really unhealthy things and putting yourself in not great positions, and actually end up hurting yourself. Like, it's like with every other negative emotion, like, you need to not necessarily like, only be that, but you need to feel it, write it out. Obviously, like, what works for me is not going to work for everybody else. So find out, test different things, do different things, learn to be okay with yourself, learn to be okay with the loneliness in terms of like, yeah, don't be scared. You don't have to face it down, but just sit with it. Let it be. And it will like go away a lot quicker, and, talk about it, but don't be scared of it, because that's only going to make you feel more lonely. So now it's your turn to be put on the hot seat. So Paula, I wanted to ask you, have you ever dealt with loneliness? And how did that come out?
Yeah, thank you so much. I've definitely dealt with it throughout many periods of my life. I feel like as everybody else. But I feel like my experience is unique to me because I strictly deal with loneliness because I fear of silence. Ever since I was a kid, I like to surround myself with groups of people. Like, I never like to be in a room by myself because the silence sometimes gets too loud. I always like to be a part of a community. I always like to be a part of a certain friend group. It doesn't matter like specific people. I just always wanted to be a part of a crowd because that's where I felt the most safe. That's why I also understood that I'm a ridiculously great extrovert by nature because I love being surrounded by people. I love working together with people. I hate working alone. I love doing collaborations. That is why I've understood that I've also, similar to you, feared loneliness because every single time I've understood when I was alone, it's sort of like the time when you reflect on yourself, when you start to think, who are you as an individual? And these sometimes daunting questions can be very hyperfixed and they can create a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. And for many years in my life, I was sort of neglecting those questions because I feared from them so bad. And because I was sort of neglecting it and I was trying to put myself in these various communities, various groups of people, I've also found myself in situations that have been truly unpleasant, whether it's because I was trying to be someone that I'm not, but then again, who am I as an individual? Or I've been surrounding myself with people who don't have the nicest intentions towards me. Or naturally, I've been also a part of friend groups where I didn't have the nicest intentions towards other people because you're inevitably going to hurt someone or you're inevitably going to get hurt in life. So surrounding myself with these errors or these people in my life and fearing that moment of being alone and trying to figure out who are you as a person, they were really daunting. And I feel like this lonely experience just taught me that at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about every single time when you're going to be alone, you're going to have daunt. It's just sit with yourself and actually try to answer these questions. But I feel like a lot of people struggle to answer questions about who are you as a person and what do you do on your free time when it's just by you? Like, who is your persona? So, yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. That's really deep. And I think a lot of people, myself included, can really relate to that. So, okay, this is what like I'm getting is basically you felt really like you didn't like being alone because you had to deal with your own thoughts. And like that's what you meant by like the silence. Like when it's silent and you're alone, like you just have to sit with your thoughts, which often had a lot of stuff that you just weren't ready to face. Can you please tell me a specific moment in which you've had to deal with being alone, dealing with thoughts, and now as a 21 youngin, how you now deal with that, and how maybe, you know, if that happens again, like how do you deal with it now? Like how do you approach it that's different from before?
Yeah, thank you. That's an amazing question, by the way. Yes, there is a specific moment in my life where I've marked that point of where my growth about loneliness and being alone started to happen or started to rise potentially. It was a moment when I stopped being friends with this one girl. And this friendship, short backstory, it was literally everything for me. I felt like it sometimes even gave me purpose. It gave me drive. It gave me the stability that I did not receive from any other human interaction in my life. And when I lost this person, not to death, just to make sure, but just to life circumstances, I felt utterly alone because in my mind, like these really depressing thoughts started to run in. For example, no one is going to understand me this way. No one is going to take care of me this way. No one is going to, basically, I'm never going to have a similar interaction or a similar friendship dynamic with anyone in my life. And that period was truly dark because it was very hard to motivate myself to want to study, to want to educate myself, to want to continue basically discovering my purpose, because I've always had this one person next to me. And somehow I built my home into them. I've built my trust. I've built my everything for this one person. And I realized after a certain amount of time of these thoughts running into my head, I completely switched my friends in that time period. And my current best friend, hi bestie, I love you so much. She started to open up to me about her thoughts of me being in that said period when I was contemplating life. And throughout those conversations with my current best friend, I really started to understand that I trust people way too much with my own shit. And it's not about finding the people in your life who are necessarily going to be the people who push you. You know, it's not about finding that stability in others. It's about finding that within yourself. Yeah. Because I strictly remember having a conversation with my best friend where she told me, what about you? What are you doing to make yourself feel more happier? What are you doing to make your day special for yourself? What is it that you do as an individual for yourself? Which at that point I was like, what do you mean? It's self-explanatory. But then she was like, no, think about it, sit with it. I sat with it and my mind went blank. Which is natural. I feel like I'm not the only person who has dealt with this. And after that moment, I really started to understand that, damn, I've really put my happiness into this one person. And also, it at that time felt like they left so easily, but that was just thoughts of the time. Because, of course, when time passes, you start to reflect and evaluate, and you start to understand that you can also blame yourself. But my main lesson from that was, damn, I really trust other people to make myself feel happy. But what about me? And then again, I was faced with these questions of, but who am I? Who is Paula? What is Paula doing in her everyday life that makes her an individual, that makes her a content creator, a podcast recorder, a student, a sister, a daughter, a friend? You know, who am I in all of these life positions? And it was very scary to face it, because that means, oh, if I'm going to start to do it, I have to start doing it alone. And there's no one next to me who is going to do it, because no one can really help you grow except yourself. Of course, you can have friends next to you who can be like a strong shoulder for you or encourage you, but you have to do the work. And in my mind, I understood if I have to do the work, I have to do it alone. And that scared me to my very core, because I was never used to doing everything by myself. I've always had help. I've always had friends. I've always had family. I've always had someone next to me. But this was a journey that I have to go on by myself. And when I started to do it bits by pieces every day, I'm not saying it wasn't difficult. It was fucking difficult. Like the first few months of me really trying to step out of my comfort zone and trying to rediscover myself, or discover myself for the first time, really. it was truly terrifying. Like every single time, even when you step out of the house, it's like, ooh, the sun is shining way too much today. Like, oh, damn. But months went by and I started to understand the more I put myself out there, the less lonely I feel when I'm by myself, because I started to understand, oh, I really like to teach myself how to play the guitar. Oh, I really weirdly like to do oil painting. Wow, I really like to do camera work, even though I'm completely shit at it. Oh my God, I actually like to do editing, even though I'm not really good at it. Like these bits and pieces that came onto me, I was like, wow, I actually do have a bunch of stuff that I truly like to do strictly by myself, and I do not want people to touch it. And through those experiences, being alone really helped me deal with the lonely thoughts in my head. And after a while, I'm not saying that they disappeared completely, but they did tune down a little bit. And so motivating myself and trying to rediscover myself just felt right. And it became easier and easier by the days coming.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. That was very deep.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. No, but I feel like that's a lot that people can relate to. Again, myself included. Like, because basically what I hear is that you struggled a lot with, like, you know, as I said, being alone and your thoughts alone. So you love people. And so to chase away those thoughts and having to kind of deal with yourself and who you are, you kind of put everything into other people, and like, they were your source of identity. They were like who you are and you as a person, because it was scary to face that, like, you didn't really, know you. And I think it's also like really hard because like when you are starting to become an adult and you're kind of going through that like transitional period, you already like, that's also kind of where a lot of changes do happen. And I think that's actually a really great place to start. And I do agree that, like, finding yourself, finding hobbies that you like to do and who you are without other people. And I think that makes it also better. And I agree that, like, I still deal with, like, lonely thoughts. I still deal with loneliness. However, it's definitely not as severe as it was when I was younger. And really learning that, so much better. But yeah, like, I think all it comes down to is like basically learning how to be okay with being by yourself, but also befriending loneliness, like learning for it to live but not survive and live in you, but to let it pass through you like water, and just like let it in, deal with it, vibe with it, let it leave. Don't like have a grip on it,
Yeah. Thank you. That was actually really well said and put. I feel like coming to think of it now, from like nowadays perspective, it really would have been nice if someone like me now could be there for like myself when I was like a young adult, someone like myself who was a teenager, someone like myself who was a kid, because I feel like going through all of these experiences would have been so much easier. But then again, if you don't really go through the trenches, you can't really come out the way that you are right now, So I think we both can agree that we're very thankful for having these experiences and going through that and all that other stuff. So Haley, now that we're going into our next segment, and if we're potentially reflecting on our experiences, do you think that you as an individual going through life and reminiscing for loneliness and stuff, is there anything that you would like to do differently in the future? Looking back at the past, seeing how you learned and how you reflected, is there anything that you can really take from your past experiences and say, this is what I'm going to use the next time I feel severely lonely?
Honestly, like, I learned a lot, and I mean a lot of lessons through my loneliness because they were accompanied by a lot of different other things. But for loneliness itself, like, if let's say in the future me gets to that point again, what I've taken from it and, you know, is how I deal with it now. Like, I have this really awesome best friend. Hi, bestie. I miss you. No, but this also best friend. Also you. But yeah, I have a really good, like, a lot of best friends right now and a lot of, like, good friends and friend groups who have helped me create a space where I can say, like, I'm actually feeling really lonely, because sometimes it does get so bad, and especially, you know, for me, that, like, it's almost unbearable to deal with alone. And I'm very grateful, and this is what I'm going to keep putting into, is like keep growing and strengthening these friendships and keeping those spaces so, like, nice and, you know, open, so that I can go, like, hey, like, I'm really, like, I'm not doing okay, and allowing space for my friends to help me, because I think I've always been super hyper independent, and I can still struggle with that. However, from my past, like, I really didn't let anyone know I was, like, lonely. I didn't know that anyone know I was struggling. I didn't have the spaces or the friends or the people around me, or just, you know, to kind of deal with it. And so I kind of just locked myself in this spiral. Whereas, like, so what I'm really taking is, you know, lean into those who love and genuinely care about you. Like, that's what I would do, is, like, really lean into the people around me, talk about it, sit with it, allow people into my world and help them guide me to what is feeling so lonely, not to necessarily fix it, because honestly, I don't think you should always fix it, and that's not the point of it, but to understand and to help me sit with it until it, like, passes, because most of the time it does pass, like, everything shall pass. But also, you know, yes, to kind of help maybe find or give some ideas, and, you know, yeah, but just lean into the people that are around, but also maybe sometimes if it is that bad again, need to kind of ask questions and, yeah, get to the core and see what's going on. Sometimes it's just about, like, you've lost yourself a little bit and you need to go find you again. And sometimes it's little you, for me, was like sometimes little me needs to come out a little bit, and she needs some little attention. And that's what I kind of take with me, is those sort of lessons of, you know, have those people around you who help you create those spaces and are safe and are good, and who don't take your problems as theirs, but they help lift the boulder up a little bit. They help lift the weight just enough to breathe, and are there to, you know, they climb, instead of trying to get you out of the hole, they climb down with you and sit in there with you until you're able to get out, you know?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I can even resonate to that so much, because it's so nice to have someone next to you and just sit there with you, and not potentially, like, say, like, come on, let's go do work. It's more like, let's just sit and chat about it, because I feel like a lot of people underestimate what a good deep talk can do to one's mental health. I feel like we both can resonate to the fact that for us, if we, in the majority of times, if we feel lonely or if we feel alone, it's so nice to go to someone and talk it out. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a huge chunk of people, but it's like that one person who can just sit there and not necessarily give you advice, but more so be like, I'm here for you. If you just want to yap. If you just want to, you know.
Yeah.
But just be there for me a little bit.
Yeah. I do have something I do want to add, because I realized that some of our, you know, this is also for our viewers, and something that I have learned that I think might be useful, just if someone hears, because not everyone, maybe someone's in that space where they don't really have people around that they can do that with. And I'm not saying you need to go out and find them. Like, I'm just saying something that helped me, that people are probably gonna call me crazy. I don't care. This really helped when I was in that space to kind of bear with it. I'm very grateful for the people I have now, but, like, if you don't have that, and if I, at some point, let's hope not, because I don't want to lose you guys. But if I was ever in that space again and I didn't have the people I have now, something that I learned that really, really helped was talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Sit down and have a conversation with yourself. Like the amount of times that I've had to deal with situations or I'm really going through trenches, oh my soul, myself and I sit down, we have the fattest chat, and you let every emotion you feel and you let them out, and you don't be scared of them. You're not rocking with them. You're like having a whole foxtrot with them. Because suppressing them is not going to help, and you're just going to feel even worse. But yeah, like if you don't have people around, like writing in a diary, rip up that paper, like writing how you feel, ripping it up, draw it, yell it, talk to yourself with it. Like literally those ways so much, like they help me so much when I didn't have a space to talk about it. Like when I didn't feel like I could, or like it was just too much for me to understand or bear to touch. Like, because sometimes you feel like only you can understand it, and while that's like really, that's useful when you don't have people around you. If you do have people around you, like if I did have people, I would rather go to them, because like that we don't boost the hyper independency here. But like if you don't have that, like for me at least, that really helped, and I hope that maybe someone else out there can resonate with that, and I hope maybe that helps someone. Probably future me when I watch this back, because she talks a lot of shit, but sometimes she don't take her own medicine, and she really should. But we all a little hypocritical. It's okay. Future me, if you're watching, listen to me. I'm always right. Okay. And if future Paula's watching this, I'm right. So you should listen too.
I agree. I can actually resonate to having the chat with yourself to a high degree. I've been doing that ever since I was a teenager. And let me tell you, sometimes those chats help me way more than chatting with any other person on this earth. Let it be my mama. I love my mama. Let it be my grandma. I love my grandma. But sometimes just sitting there with yourself and just chatting, even though you look like you're completely cray-cray, but it helps you so much because you're having a conversation with someone who truly and utterly understands your experience to a T. There's no one else than yourself who's going to understand what you've been through and what did you feel while you were going through it. Yeah. Because every other person's experience is unique to your own. So I completely agree to your statement. But also I can add to it a little bit. For myself, for my future, if I would ever jump into a situation or face a situation where I would have to deal with loneliness again, I would truly like to take myself back to the moment where I realized I need to start doing things no matter how alone I am, and try to apply it to that situation. I understand that in the beginning it's probably going to be hard, because I feel like when you're in the moment of loneliness, all you crave for is attention or affection, something that comes from other people. But for me, what would be the main thing that I would like to tell myself is, hey, whatever you're dealing with right now, I'm pretty sure that like there's a 99.9% chance that you can deal with it by yourself, or you can take on this task by yourself and do it. And also don't be afraid to ask for help, rather than just sitting with a person and be like, oh my God, Haley, you have to help me. No, instead of that, I would just be open to the experience and experience it by myself. But if I know that I need help, I would be like, hey guys, can you lend me a hand? If I would need a chat, hey guys, can we have a chat? But otherwise, just sit with it.
Yeah.
Boil in it. Yeah. It's okay. And also what I would like to remind myself, maybe also remind to you, Haley, is that I think it's pretty fucking natural to feel lonely.
Yeah.
So I feel like also at the end of the day, future Paula, future Haley, if they're looking back at this time, I feel like what they would tell us as well is, it's so normal to feel lonely. It's so normal to deal with loneliness. And probably we're putting way too much emphasis on it while we're dealing with it. Because sometimes when you feel lonely, you're like, the world is ending. Take me to a grave. Okay, not that bad. That was an exaggeration. But I feel like those moments can feel truly painful. But in the future, I feel like the more you go through it and the more you face it, the better it will be for you to actually deal with the situations that encounter loneliness, no matter the degree of how hard it is. Right?
Yeah. No, like, I completely agree. Because, like, honestly, yeah, the only person who knows every single thing and exactly the way you think and what's best for you is you. In this case, Paula knows Paula best and Haley knows Haley best. But, like, I would say that, like, yeah, I think still tell your friends, like, hey, yeah, no, I'm struggling with this. Yeah. But, like, just say, look, I'm dealing with it, I'm good. Because I think, obviously, communicating, if you are going through a rough patch, is, like, the best thing you can do. But sometimes communicate that you're going through it, but you're handling it, and then deal with it yourself. Like, I've done this as a kid. My dad thought I was crazy. He asked my mom, like, yo, something wrong with this kid, man.
Same.
Like, no joke. I would be talking to myself, and my dad would be like, I think this child needs help. And my mom goes, yeah, I did that.
Same.
Honestly. But, like, I still do, and I still, especially before, like, going to deal with stuff and, like, you know, do anything, like, I will have a chat with myself, because also I think sometimes it's best to get out all those emotions so, you know, you can deal with, like, stuff a bit more logically, you know, better for you. But sometimes you just need to crash out a little bit and be lonely. And, you know, honestly, I now actually like being alone. I'm a bit of an ambivert. I will say that. But I'm really grateful. Like, I think, you know, we always talk, you know, socialize, have a lot of friends. And I'm always like, and like, you know, if you don't have friends, if you don't have this, if you don't have that, then, like, you know, then you're not good. And you're like, you know, there's just so much pressure and so much, like, stupid shit that, like, causes people to feel so isolated and so alone. And, like, you know, especially, like, with people online, like, they talk about all these sort of things, and, like, for me, like, seeing everyone have friends and everyone have all this time, and, like, you know, being surrounded with these people, and, you know, just a whole bunch of like fake shit online. Like, I felt so isolated and so alone, and everyone's so entrapped in their phones, and everyone's so, you know, disconnected. I think that, like, really was something I struggled with, even, like, recently. I think that was, like, a very recent struggle for me, is that, like, trying to connect with people is so tough, but because we put so much emphasis on so much other things, and also we demonize being lonely. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, but you were just lonely the other day. Like, it's not that big of a deal in terms of, like, it's not, like, I feel like also when you're younger, in your teen years, everything's the end of the world. Like, we're melodramatic. Like, come on. But I think everyone, you know, can resonate with a lot, and, you know, we invite the viewers, like, please let us know, like, your guys' stories, your guys' reflections, how you deal with loneliness, because, like, we would love to read your comments and find out how you guys deal with it. You know, I think it's really cool to have these conversations and, like, talk about it, and, like, you know, like, give hot girl tips, and, you know, like, yeah, I for one would love to know any more ideas, because, like, I'm always looking for some new ideas to help deal with it. Another good one, music. Sorry, last little bit, won't take too long. Absolutely love making playlists. Make playlists for your emotions. Oh my soul, come up with stories, write a book. Like, come up with your own little world. Who needs reality? But I think this is a good place to start ending off a little bit. Don't you agree, Paula?
I agree. Yeah.
I think this is a really great note, and I think we both I actually learned a lot just from, like, this episode. Hoping you did too.
Of course.
You know.
Yeah. I feel like only through sharing stories and sharing experiences and opening up can you really start to grow from it and really reflect on it. So thank you for sharing this experience with me. It was very nice. It's very lovely to just sit and chat with you and reflect and make content out of it, which hopefully resonates to other people as well. But for now,
we are going live. Sorry, guys.
But for now, what we can say to our lovely watchers on YouTube, thank you so much for interacting with our podcast in our first episode. Make sure to give us a like and hit that notification button. And please subscribe for more content for The Third Eye. Haley, would you like to give our Spotify audiences something?
Please follow us. We want to see you there. See you at the party. I think I'm not sure if you could. I think you can like.
You can like.
I'm sorry. I'm stupid. Okay. You're girly.
You're not stupid.
No, I watch podcasts on YouTube. Sorry, I'm a YouTube girly. I've always been a YouTube girly. But for my
YouTube.
we do. We're so Gen Z. No, but for the Spotify viewers, please do follow us. And like our podcast, please. That would help us out so much. Paula, would you want to do for the Hub viewers, the BUas Hub?
The BUas Hub.
The BUas Hub.
For the audiences quickly, we are students of Breda University of Applied Sciences and we're located in the Netherlands. So for our Hub listeners, thank you so much for tuning in our podcast. Make sure to stick to our announcements of our next episodes and let us know as well what are your thoughts on the episodes and what are the potential topics that you guys would like to listen us on reflecting, and give us your stories. Please share. We actively invite you to share your personal stories on how you cope with loneliness. And we'll see you next time for the next episode on The Third Eye.
We love you guys. And thanks for watching this episode, our very first episode. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.